Hello, everyone, and welcome not to my office this time. I would apologize for the scenery, but instead, I'm going to apologize for being late. This has been a crap week. I'm sure you all have had them in your life where one bad thing goes wrong and you think you got a grip on the week and it just sort of spirals out of control, culminating in me having to spend 2 days down here at my father-in-law's lake house because we needed to get some plumbing done. And did it get fixed yesterday? No, it did not. So I have the terrible burden of staying here. I'm actually going to be leaving in about an hour and a half, but that's my view back there. And right now it's your view. And you could probably hear some of the waves in the lake and maybe some of the docks moving too. So I would apologize, but I feel like that gives me sort of a nice little background to what we're talking about today. And maybe you can use this to fall asleep. I'm just guessing. So here we are. It is almost the end of this semester. We have just about under 3 weeks left, and might be 2 weeks. My math is terrible, but we have finals week 2, so don't forget that. So it looks like everybody has been paying attention, you're caught up, you know what's going on, and hopefully you've been reading, because that's where we rely on things the most. We've got a couple of things coming up in the next 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, I don't remember. The first thing that we definitely are getting done is your speech analyses, and the second thing we're getting done is your annotated bibliographies. Those are important to demonstrate to me that not only can you research about the subject of persuasion, but you also are able to apply it to specific instances. That's sort of two of the key goals here in this course, as I told you in the beginning of the semester. The third thing that we do, that I just do to make sure that you're reading the book, are the quizzes and the discussion boards. And we've had 2 of our 4 quizzes. I've got one scheduled during finals week. Of course, it won't be a culminating final. It will just be a regular quiz, but that is coming up, which means that in the next 2 weeks, we are doing another quiz. And so today, I just kind of wanted to bring us around to what that quiz is going to focus on. And as usual, it's going to be pretty much, straight from the book. It is open book, open note. You have a long time to do it so that it fits into your schedule at your convenience. As you know, I am very understanding of things going wrong as I'm sitting here in the cabin. So there's a few things we have to do, but they're all small. Nothing is going to take you just, an entire night. Nothing is going to take you hours upon hours. Hopefully at this point, you know that, and that's a good thing. Hopefully you're able to squeeze them in between other bigger projects you might have in other classes. All right, so I wanted to let you know I understand that, and that's why the due date is May 13th, which is dead day. That is to say, the day before your final exams begin on Saturday, the 14th. So I do that specifically so that you can sort of schedule your life around the very hectic end of the semester, how you want to do that. All I ask is that you make sure you get it done, right? And like I said, I'm keeping up with Blackboard pretty well. Feel good about that. So you all should know right where you stand most of the time. And if you have any questions about that, certainly let me know. I saw a couple of Blackboard posts that literally just are showing as unread from 2 weeks ago, or about 10 days ago. I'm pretty sure I read those and that I posted the places to put your assignments. But I'm going to be running back to double check that today because I feel kind of weird that they're still sitting there unread. Now that just may be a Blackboard glitch, as we know we have them. Or it may be that literally I didn't put them up, which would be really weird for me, but I will double check. So what is it that we need to do to wrap up this semester? Well, I really like these 3 chapters that you've been reading for the past 3 weeks. The chapters really talk about persuasion in very specific contexts. for example, interpersonal communication, and then in advertising and marketing, and then I separated out the political. And I'm going to get to why I did that in just a minute. But first, what I want you to do is, as another assignment, and I'll put this up on the discussion board today, I would like you to just take a few minutes and talk about the difference between persuasion on the interpersonal level and persuasion on that mass marketing media level that they talk about in the next chapter. Why do we separate those out? What makes them different? What is it that makes us say, well, the same principles apply all the time? All right. So I'd like you to do that at some point in the next week. Again, another small assignment, should not take you long. We're talking a couple of sentences here, folks. Do not go overboard. Answer it the best way you want to answer it, honestly. All right. So the next thing I wanted to ask you all to do is a favor. Since we've gone to online teaching evaluations, it's been very difficult for us to get evaluations. And so I think last year I taught over, 150 students, and I had a grand total across 3 courses of 17 evals come back. And of course, I also understand that, you may not be motivated to do an eval because you think nobody pays attention. It is true, by the way, that the ones you do get in these times when people aren't motivated are the ones that are complaining, which is a given. If I have a good experience at a car dealership, I'm less likely to go and brag about it on social media, on Google reviews, than if I have a really crappy experience. And I get that. And that's understandable and okay. But I want to ask you all if you could fill out that teaching evaluation that's available to you online. I don't care about the numbers, but the university does. They don't care about the comments, but I do. As you know, this is the first time I've taught this class. So not only is it the first time I've ever taught this class, but it's the first time I'm teaching it, and it's online, which just gives a lot of challenges to the course. And I've never been particularly comfortable with it. So I need feedback from you. What about the assignments? Are they too much? Are they too few? Are they too big? Are they too small? What about the book? Do we find the book helpful? Is it too detailed? Is it not detailed enough? And I don't just mean, is it hard to read, as much as just, does it give us the information we want it to give us? I have my assessment, but I need yours. And also, if having lectures that reiterate what's in the book, as I often do, if that's helpful or if that's just a waste of your time. These are sort of some of the things I would love to hear back on. Whether you hate it or love it, the experience in the classroom, it's irrelevant to me. What I need is to know, if you hate it, how to make it better. If you love it, are there things that need to be improved? Those things are very important. Okay. So if you wouldn't mind doing that before they close, which I think is May 13th, I would really appreciate it. It would just be helpful to me to hear more than 17 out of 150 perspectives, if possible. All right. Because that absolutely did nothing to help me. So it's unfortunate, because when we had paper evaluations, I spent a lot of time revamping a course from semester to semester. I had zero problem changing certain assignments or changing certain readings, or deciding, I'm going to keep that reading, but knowing that students don't enjoy it, or that they really enjoyed a certain reading that maybe I didn't think I was going to use again. So these are important things for me. I hope that was persuasive enough to get you to go and do it. I need it. All right. Thank you for that. So we have like I said, small things coming up here over the course of the next 2 weeks before May 13th. After that, we have an entire week during finals week where we will be taking one quiz. And as you know, my quizzes are not particularly long or in depth, but I want you to know that the reason I put the May 13th deadline on your assignments is because that gives me then about 8 days to grade everything from all 3 of my classes, all of the stuff that people turn in. It gives me about 8 days to do that before the university comes after me and says, we need your grades now. So I don't want to give people incompletes if I don't have to. I certainly don't want to give them out because I just didn't get to grade them. So everything turned into me by May 13th is guaranteed to get graded in time for me to turn in a final grade. Obviously, the final exam or the quiz, the last quiz, that will guaranteed be graded in time for your final grade. If you need more time on an assignment that you just can't get it done by the 13th, we can talk about that, okay? I just want to be very clear that anything that gets turned in during finals week that isn't due during finals week is added added things for me to do to try to get done in time to give you that grade. Now, grades that are late don't follow up too late. I mean, I can do it in a matter of a couple of days, honestly. So if we're in a bad situation or we're overwhelmed, stressed out, thinking that you can't do it, anything like that, please just let me know, ask me, talk to me. As I said, I am very aware that crazy stuff happens. In fact, you probably don't know this yet because I haven't told anybody yet, but I will be leaving on Sunday to spend an entire week in Denver, Colorado. No, I'm not going skiing. It's not a social visit. It's not for fun. I won't lie, I like a change of scenery every now and then, but then again, I could just come down here, which is only like an hour from my house, right? So it's actually a medical trip. I do them twice a year. It's what keeps my sarcoidosis at stage 0, which is very, very important for my body and my health. So I hope you'll forgive me. However, while I'm there, I really only have a couple of doctor's visits, and they're long. Usually, it usually involves an operation of some kind because they're doing research on me. But the rest of the time that I'm there, I'm staying at a friend's house who works like a crazy maniac, needs to take a breath every now and then, but he works like a crazy guy, and he has, extremely fast internet, multiple computers. I'll have my phone, my laptop, and so I will still be working as if I'm still in Springfield. And isn't that the joy of online class taking, right? I can do this from anywhere, and so can you. So that's the good news. All right. So we're wrapping up the semester, and we're ending it with these 3 communication contexts in which we're asked to talk about or think about how those contexts change our strategies for persuasion. Your book is very, very clear on interpersonal communication and on marketing mass communication. So I'm not going to reiterate that because, like I said, I'm asking you in the discussion board to demonstrate to me that you understand that difference. Instead, I'm going to focus really quickly for just a few minutes on the political. Why did I put that in there? Do I have an agenda of some sort? Is it that, we don't have a socio-political communication major and I need to slip it in? No, none of that is the case. However, it is true that political persuasion differs from other types of mass marketing and advertising persuasion tactics. How? Well, whether you talk to me or Sam Dyer, we're going to have the same answer for you. When you're in public relations and advertising, you are just looking to get people to buy into part of the market share, right? You want to sell more. And if that more is 1% or 10%, you're still doing your job, right? You may want to do it better. You learn from it and you're going to have different strategies and you may do it better. Political communication is a zero-sum game. When we need to get somebody elected to a position, there's a limited number of seats to be filled, and there's a limited number of candidates who will fill them. In other words, there's a limited number of candidates who are running in the first place. But most importantly, only one person can fill one seat at a time. In other words, this isn't about market share. I mean, sure, Sometimes we talk about, oh, you got 25% of the vote. That's really good for a Democrat in Southwest Missouri. Or in some cases, you only got 52% of the vote. That is not good for a Republican in Southwest Missouri. Now, that's not to say anything about the people who are running or a party or anything like that, except that in Southwest Missouri, the number of party Republicans outnumbers the number of party Democrats by a substantial amount, which means that you usually anticipate that Republicans are going to win and win big. Now, if you have a Republican who wins by just like 2% or 4%, you need to make sure that the next time they go up for election that they don't lose, because there is always a chance for that to change. So when we talk about market share in terms of advertising, marketing, public relations, it's the only thing we're using to evaluate whether or not persuasion is successful. In political communication contexts, the only thing that matters is who won and who lost. That's it. Because you start over again from ground zero. There's no market share that you can just improve on or try to cut from somebody else. That's not the way it works. So there's a time limit. There is a set result. It is a binary result, either or, what we know is a zero-sum game, meaning that one side is going to get it all, win the election, get the seat, and one side is going to lose it all, not get elected. And so when we talk about percentages of winning and losing in politics, we're not talking about success rates so much as we're talking about where we think the audience for these political campaigns are standing right now. All right. So the reason I bring up the political campaign is because it is so drastically different from a public relations campaign, a marketing campaign, a sales campaign, and so on. This is also true, by the way, not just for electing people into office, but also for issues. When we have an issue on the ballot, it is a zero-sum game for that issue. If I hear people all the time on television talk about, well, in Texas, they came really, really close to not voting on that 6-week limit for abortions. Okay, as an example. Well, what does that mean? And the answer is it doesn't matter because the legislation went through. Okay, so again, a zero-sum game. It's not like, it almost went through, or it barely squeaked through, and that somehow makes a difference. It doesn't. So what I want you to do is when you're reading the chapters about the different communication contexts, I'm not going to give you additional readings on political persuasion. I just want you to understand what those differences are so that if you are interested in political persuasion, that's something we definitely explore in Political Comm 550. I'm sorry, it's 450 now. And in Social Movements, which is 466. And in Comtech and Politics, which is 452. So if you're interested in how is it we persuade in a political communication campaign versus a regular campaign, please take one of those courses or let me know and we could do something to talk about it, because this book is 100% focused on sort of the idea of the capitalistic market-driven persuasion that we all experience all the time. And that's not a criticism, by the way. That's just something I wanted you to know. All right, so I'm going to post to the discussion board my question about the difference between interpersonal persuasion and mass marketing persuasion. And if you have any other questions, I'll also make sure that I've got everything up on Blackboard and that I keep up with the grading as much as possible to get us through this end of the semester as smoothly as we possibly can with our world just being chaotic. Okay, we're going to be able to do it. I have faith in us, and I will talk to you all very, very soon.